Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome back to a short and sweet segment here on the Visual Disturbance channel. Welcome everybody back. Thank you all for being here. Today we're going to be talking about trillions of UFO particles scattered across Earth. Now what is the good question to ask. We're going to be talking about this gentleman on the screen here, Richard Bandurek, has literally just recently talked about these, let's just say, things that are very intriguing, and talking about Lockheed Martin and NASA engineer Richard Bandurek just made the insane claims that trillions of UFO particles scattered across Earth, materials that cloak, resemble a self-destructive mechanism, interference with humanity or electronics, and can communicate to bizarre world we live in 2025, and to advance the humans have not made them. So these things are very interesting. Not only do we have a intergalactic, some kind of artificial dome supposedly above our heads, but now we have this in the news chamber. So let's just play a little video clip not too long ago of Mr. Richard Van Durek talking about these specific things. It's very interesting indeed. So be right back with the audio here.
One of the things is when these materials, you'd be looking at them and you try and reverse engineer them, that they would turn to dust. And they would do it within a minute or two. And then so you could take the dust and then set it off and get the isotopic analysis done on them. And they were extraterrestrial. But these materials, I mean, we're looking at something that's hundreds of years ahead of us. When you look under a microscope or an electron microscope, you're looking at something that's composed of very small particles that seem to be communicating with one another. So those are the things that I've been involved in that we can talk about. I think that's one of the reasons why extraterrestrial materials are not really available to most people, is because most of them are set to disintegrate if they get in the wrong hand. Isotopic analysis of the dust that's left behind tells you it's extraterrestrial, at least where it was manufactured. But so we're looking at materials that can reconfigure themselves. They are composed of small subunits. So the type of things I looked at were something as small as a sliver of metal that would reconfigure itself depending on where it was. It would cloak itself and it would try to blend into the environment. So the ones that this one NGO used to get a hold of were the ones that were technically broken. I guess the ones that didn't really function very well. So then you could collect them every once in a while and then try to analyze them. You could do things like split them apart. They would attempt to find each other or reconfigure. Some of the experiments they did was we took one of those and we put it on a very hot surface of about 3,000 degrees. And what it would do is it cooled the surface around itself. And then when we took the device off and then weighed it again, we would find that the mass would be reduced by a certain amount.
Do these feel like programmed materials to you, Richard?
Yeah, they were, like I was saying, they're more intelligent materials. Like these subunits probably had computational functionality, right? Because they knew what their neighbors were all about and they knew they could reprogram themselves to be something different, right? If they needed to change themselves. So these are really curious types of materials. So that's how we could kind of tell they were extraterrestrial, because these things weren't like decades ahead of us. They were probably hundreds of years ahead of us.
Well, there you have it. This is interesting indeed. So, trillions of UFO particles scattered across the Earth. Now what? Well, I want to throw my 2 cents in here with a short and sweet segment. I remember very specifically a date and time in 2017 where they was talking about programmable matter in a German laboratory, and scientist was talking about this programmable matter that could self-replicate. So that was in 2017. So imagine that. So let's just chime in real quick. I just did a video on this not too long ago, a broadcast. We talked about cloaking materials, meta materials, and cloaking applications. This is literally a FOIA document, and it was held in Cairo, Egypt on 2010 of February. Professor Chang from Hong Kong University was talking about invisible cloaks and surrounding objects that don't even need a cloak. You could surround the objects and they could, let's just say, the perception of human eyes could not perceive it anymore because it would cloak with such intelligence and such accuracy. Is this exactly what Mr. Richard Van Durek is talking about? More than likely. So when we talk about this, folks, and we really think about it, what's in your backyard, what's underneath our feet, I will tell you one thing. I have some anomaly in my backyard as we speak, and it's been there for a couple years. and I have an EMF reader that shows a different gauging, and there's nothing around electrical lines or anything like that, and there's something strange anomaly in the backyard indeed. So what a bizarre world we live in, if there's any truth to this at all. And I'm not desecrating his opinion whatsoever. He literally is sounding incredible and sounding knowledgeable on this particular topic. So my hat goes off to Richard here for speaking about these things and, you know, risking things, risking his, let's just say, putting his life in danger to speak upon these things. So prayers go out to Richard here, Banduric. I hope he's well. And these trillions of particles and what have you, when you talk about UFO phenomenon, it's getting stranger by the day, stranger by the second. But yeah, 2025, let's just say what happens in 2026 will probably blow the socks off of you. But yeah, Richard Van Durick speaking about the trillions of UFO particles scattered across the earth. Now what is the good question? I guess we'll wait and see. But this is a short and sweet segment today on the 2025 here at Visual Disturbance channel. Hope everybody's well. Subscribe, share. Thank you all for tuning with me on this short and sweet segment. But until next time, well, now what? But yeah, next time, share this thing out. Subscribe. Welcome to the Visual Disturbance community. Thank you all so much for attending with me this afternoon, this evening, or this morning, wherever you are on this earth. But welcome to the Visual Disturbance channel. Subscribe, like this video. Subscribe. It helps me with the algorithm. I really would appreciate it. And talk at you guys soon. See you on the next one. Visual Disturbance, I am out.